Hello, my name is Carlos. Welcome to the first Everyday's Friday show here in Open Source Radio in Nijmegen. Today we are doing our first interview live on the radio, as we usually kind of film them in DJs' houses and then edit them. So it's a new challenge. Unfortunately, with the COVID rules that you guys already know, we can only have 2 people inside the studio. So we're going to be switching guests, as Archipel is made up of 4 people throughout the interview. And yes, our guests today are Archipel Soundsystem. Please watch the whole 2 hours, because first we're going to be doing an interview, then they're going to be discussing some tracks, and after that they're going to play a 1-hour set. So yes, thanks for being here, Hylke.
Yeah, thank you. I'll grab my beer for that.
Yes, go ahead.
We are Archipel Soundsystem. We're from Nijmegen. We consist of 4 friends, and we came together out of our passion for music. We started hosting parties, and after that we started also playing at other parties. Our main focus is on house music, and we put other genres in our set as well. It depends on in which combinations we play.
So, like as a first question, now starting with the more specific, I wanted to ask you if you could tell me a bit the story behind Archipel Soundsystem.
We were all playing a bit, and it was more like a hobby, and but we wanted more, and we wanted to do a party, and we started with doing these small house parties. And after one night of good drinking and smoking a bit, I came home with a friend of mine, Bill, who was at one of the founding 4 of Archipel, who is now in Amsterdam and not being part of the organization part anymore. But we were discussing our first house party, and we were in his room, and I looked at the ceiling, and I thought, wow, your room looks like an Archipel, I said. And with that saying, I meant like more like a chapel. But it was a misconception. But after that, we chose to keep the name and keep doing more parties, and that's how we grew step by step from doing these parties at home to bigger venues and also playing in clubs here in Nijmegen. Yeah.
You guys play a lot of house and electro, which is kind of a common genre to play here in the Netherlands and around the world. Definitely. But how does Archipel Soundsystem make the sound unique and different to the rest?
To keep the style like unique from maybe other DJs is that I think we try to dig into like secondhand vinyl stuff, for example. So we visit some shops today together. And for example, there at the Waaghals, for example, you have like a lot of secondhand stuff, or elsewhere, like in Amsterdam or wherever you go. We like to search out the secondhand stuff and find maybe tracks that you wouldn't find like if you search on YouTube, for example. Mm-hmm. So I think that's our part of like trying to deliver a unique style, and then it's also hard because we always play back to back. Not with the 4 of us, but mainly with the 2 of us, and then we decide, okay, your sound is better with this kind of venue or party or whatever. And I think maybe it's also unique that that the styles then come together, because everybody has a particular style, and then it comes together and can have maybe a unique blend or turnout if we if somebody goes left turn or right turn while we're playing.
Let's say you have a party coming up next week, if it wasn't because of the COVID situation, of course. How do you guys go about preparing a set?
Yeah, like today, we also play a set from an hour. Mm-hmm. I think at our situation, because we are with the 4 of us, it's a little bit different sometimes. So we always play back to back. You always you prepare a set for what kind of venue you play, what kind of crowd you have, what's your time at the timetable, if you're a starter. And what's the most interesting with us is, of course, you play with always with two guys. So what Lucas also told is it's sometimes surprised what the other one's gonna play. So you have to prepare really well. We listen to each other's music, what kind of set we want to play, and then we play like 2 or 3 times in the studio, and with also different music. Then we have like same spirit we're in, and then we think, we're gonna do it. It will be fine.
Yeah.
And then we just play, and sometimes also at the set we take a different part, or we play some different music, but it's always in one style we choose for the set we're gonna play.
Yeah. And something I also find quite appealing from Archipel Soundsystem is that you guys are quite active organizing events in Nijmegen. So I wanted to ask you if you could tell us a bit more about this event concept you guys have.
Yeah, the event started like Lucas just said. We started with small controllers for some friends and everything, and it were kind of like pre-parties in the beginning for other parties, and then much more people want to come, and then we made a real event. And the first time was at the Plak. It was quite nice, and it was also fully packed first time, so it was also nice.
Yeah.
What we've been doing lately is to search for artists which we like in sound, of course. But what we try to do is, because when we are with 4 of us, we are quite flexible in our sound. So when we invite, the concept is also Archipel invites, for example, Marie Montexier or Rey Colino, is that we put them in a time schedule so that we can arrange the music around them. So it will be a whole package, a whole story of music. And that's what we try to do before the COVID. And what we want to expand in the future, because we have this quite unique situation that we're playing with the 4 of us, and so we can make the musical story around it better. So that's how we book artists.
Nice.
And we had in the last Nijmeegse Vierdaagse, which feels like a really long time ago, we had also Woody92 in this concept, and it was total mayhem. It was like 400 people screaming, yelling, and so if we make the story good and the music to facilitate the artists we book, then it can go loose.
What can you tell us about the Nijmegen scene? How does it compare to other Dutch cities?
That's a good question. In Nijmegen, I think one day we can be stomping on I Hate Models or Paula Temple, and the other day we are just grooving on disco bangers in another place. So it's a lot of different music types, a lot of young talent, so that's very good. And a lot of people who dance together. So that's very nice. There's also a big social part of the dance scene in Nijmegen. There are fundraisers for homeless people coming from the dance scene. So there are a lot of initiatives from dance organizations to make the city better. And also this container is built by all kinds of DJs from Nijmegen. Just to put it down, to make sure there is a plan like this. People can play, young talent can play. And I really appreciate that part of the city Nijmegen.
And then one last question about town. I wanted to ask you if you could name 3 other DJs or initiatives from the city that you really appreciate.
Music-wise, we have a lot of producers, of course. A lot of DJ and producers. Big names of that are, I think, new upcoming producer is Luca Del Soro. It just came by with a lot of Italo tracks. Roger Garrison is more minimal. It's very nice. Darko Esser is also a name that is doing proper. Those are more the producer DJ stuff. And of course we have like we say oude rotte. So the people who are really long in the scene, like Peter Puur, DJ Puur is it. These kinds of names are just the grandpas of the scene. They built the whole scene in Nijmegen.
What are Archipel Soundsystem's goals for the future?
Okay, so of course the first goal is that we will keep our studio for the rest of our lives because we got kicked out of the last one. Oh. I think a place to do our creative stuff, that's the most important thing. And next to that, we're gonna try to be on top of the Nijmegen scene, music-wise, party-wise, and hopefully expand. Depends on how long COVID is, but it's difficult to set big goals, but we want to. The sky is the limit, so that's where we're gonna reach.
Nice.